Hey guys, Enterthestars, and welcome to Between the Headlines. Now we're entering some very strange times. The status quo, or life that we're used to living, is now over. It started with CV-19, and now we're going to experience the cascade of the agenda of everything else that is to follow. We saw this occur with Blind 11. After that event, life changed, but many of us were able to avoid some of those life changes. Well, that was all just the setup until what we're going through right now. And now what they will do is through CV-19, there will be additional changes. And all of this is pointing forward to a worldwide mechanism of control. That's what it really is about. It isn't about your safety. It isn't about your health. It isn't about them caring about you. It's about having complete and total control so that real evil can occur and there won't be anyone that can do anything about it, except, of course, our reigning King, Jesus Christ, when his time comes. But until then, life is going to change. So I wanted to cover some of these headlines for you guys on Saturday. I've pre-recorded this. Hopefully I'll be with you in the chat. Domestic flyers may now need to show proof of the sticker if the Senate bill passes. And of course, this will most likely pass. Let's read about what they have planned for you if you want to get on a plane to go see your mother or your grandmother, or your children. Looks like we're going to be doing a lot of driving, doesn't it? And many of these states are beginning to ban gasoline within the next 5 to 10 years. Where does that leave us? Electric, which of course is far more easier to control than gasoline. And it says here, domestic flyers within the U.S. may soon need to prove they are likely CV-free if a proposed bill Wednesday becomes law. We know that air travel during 2020 holiday season contributed to last winter's devastating CV-19 surge. Okay. While testing and or showing proof of the sticker is common for international travel, domestic U.S. air passengers do not go through the same level of scrutiny. Now, understand that even though they have not conceded that there is a season in which CV-19 is worse than others, the numbers show something very different. They show these surges during the times of a normal FLU season, don't they? And then other times of the year, it's not so bad. So, could that be the reason why there was a surge during this time? Well, they will never admit that. They'll blame it on air travel. Now I'm starting to wonder if this was a setup all along, that they allowed air travel to happen the way it did with pretty much no rules except you had to wear a mask. And then they told us scientifically you're safe on the plane. Remember, they said that you're safe on the plane, that because of the ventilation system that you couldn't pass it. But yet now they're saying that the surge was because of air travel. Let's look that up. Flying spread. Let's see what they say. See if we can find that. People don't need to worry about circulating air spreading CV on airplanes, said CNN. The USD of the OD study supports early research showing that ventilation systems on aircraft filter the air efficiently and take out particles that could transmit viruses. So do you see the setup here? That contradicts this article that says that this travel was the reason for the surge. Okay. So this is where we're at. If this passes, you won't be able to get on a domestic flight without showing either a test or proof of the sticker. What else is changing? Well, we told you this was going to happen at the very beginning of the 2 weeks when we were locked down, that this would cause inflation, that, people out of jobs and all this, not being able to work, would cause inflation. Okay. Before it was even a story, now all of a sudden they're admitting it. U.S. could be heading into an era of high inflation that produces paltry or even negative real returns on safe assets, analyst warns. And this is why the only assets you should really have right now are assets that are going to keep you warm, safe, not have too much overhead. Those are the only assets that I would have going into the next decade if we're around that long. But this is what's going on with inflation, and now they're admitting to it. High inflation in the U.S. could last for an entire decade. Oh, but I thought our economy was strong and nothing to worry about. Apparently not. Here's something else that is changing the landscape of your experience with this life. Democratic plan to have banks report transaction data to the IRS raises privacy fears. Now, let me bring this into a nutshell for you. What this means is that now the banks will report your transaction activity to the IRS. Now, what's wrong with this? Hey, I'm not doing anything wrong. Here's the problem. Your grandmother loans you $1,000 to put a down payment on a house, puts it right into your bank account. Boom, reported to the IRS. You may have to pay taxes on that. And sometimes, what is going to be the tax rate? Is it going to be full pop? Are you going to now have to prove that that was a gift? What if they say, oh, that doesn't count as a gift. It's over a certain amount. It cannot be a gift. So therefore, you're going to pay taxes on that. So your grandmother's $1,000 that she just gave you to put a down payment on a house has now become about $500 or $600. Now, this is unprecedented. Never in the history of banking has the bank ever really communicated with the IRS. Now, apparently recently, there was a threshold of like 10 grand that some banks would report if large sums of money were going into account. Now, of course, they're saying here that this is about getting rid of fraud and black markets and all that stuff and dealers. Okay, it's all hogwash. They know who the dealers are. They're dealing. It's, again, under the guise of keeping us safe. Let's read this. Now, the people on the right are going to say, oh, those Democrats, if we had only elected the T-man, this would have never happened. Stop. These people are all the same. They're all the same at the top. It doesn't matter Republican or Democrat. This is what they do. They just keep handing the football off and pushing the agenda forward. If the T-man wouldn't have been able to get this done, then he would have either made up a really good excuse to talk people on the right into allowing this to happen, or they would have just kicked the football off to someone else, a Democrat, to make it happen. Let's read this. Banks are going to report all transactions over a certain amount to the I, to the R, to the S, is mired in practical and privacy concerns. Republicans and some tax groups contend. Bo Jive initially planned for banks to report all account inflows or outflows of over $600. Wow. To help raise revenue for the Democrats' multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure and social spending package, as if they weren't already getting enough money. Listen, apparently we shouldn't even be spending nearly as much money on defense, right? We're not in Afghanistan anymore. Where's all that money going to go? Where are all those billions and trillions? Aren't we saving money there? Shouldn't everything balance out now that we're not over there spending all this money on defense? Apparently not. They need more money from us. And these are hardworking people. Some people are assisted by family members who help them on a monthly thing, to help some of these people out. And now that's all going to get scrutinized. Shouldn't there be a threshold? Shouldn't it be like this, that, if you have over 10 grand in the bank or something like that, or if you have shady activity going on in your bank account, then it should raise a flag. Okay, so someone who's selling things, for instance, and even that shouldn't be a problem in a quote unquote free America, but we're not in a free America. And so that just goes out the window. So Democratic leadership has worked to narrow the scope of the provision and revise the threshold, perhaps up to 10 grand. So it's going to fall somewhere in between 10 grand and $600. Now, I've had times in my life when I was over in France, I was only making about $300 a month. I gave most of that to Mark to pay for the utilities and the bills. So my mom sent me like $800 one time. So now the I to the R to the S gets to see that and gets to tax that. That's ridiculous. And I know all of you probably have had help from time to time from your parents or friends. So this is the future. This is what they're trying to do. The concept would be a new one for both banks and IRS. We're going to call them IRS. Currently, banks are only required to file currency transaction reports on deposits over 10 grand. So they were already doing this, and they were saying it was to curtail money laundering. And the people that are doing the laundering are the rich people. People like you and I aren't sitting around trying to figure out how to launder money. It's the billionaires that are doing that have like restaurants as businesses that lose money, but then they launder all their cash through it. It's them doing it. So yeah, if a person is filing tax returns on the order of millions of dollars every year, then those are the people you should be looking at. There should be a threshold of people over a certain amount of money if they're going to do something like this. Not you and I, not people who get a little help every once in a while. Now all of a sudden that's going to be taxed. So they're saying this was going to raise $500 billion in revenue. Why don't you take that revenue back from all the soldiers that came back from Afghanistan and who no longer we need to pay for, and all the infrastructure we left over there? Why don't you get the money out that way? Not out of little people. So this is what's going on. Again, America is changing. Now, I'm not telling you all this to scare you or make you sad or alarm you. But you need to know what's happening and what's coming, because when it does come, this gradual stranglehold on American life, when we start looking more and more and more like China, then you'll know why. Now, let's get back to the Vaca Nation and what they're talking about. Now, they want you to believe I call these mind control articles, because they basically throw out a statement that is really hard to prove. A growing number. Okay, so what is a growing number? A growing number of parents who want their young children to get the sticker. That could be from 1 parent to 5 parents. That's a growing number. Okay, but does that mean that most parents want this? Well, let's read. How soon before I can get my kid stickered against CV-19? 1/3 of parents with children in the age group said they would have their child stickered right away. Whatever is all I could say. Polls. What do they mean? And once again, here's an article that says one thing, but then if you read between the lines, it says something else. Bojivin sticker mandate splits the U.S. on party lines, but does it really? It says here 1/4 of all Democrats don't like the sticker. Okay, so that's not along party lines. It kind of is, but it kind of isn't, right? And 6 in 10 Republicans say they disapprove. So it's about the same. So a quarter of Democrats, but only a quarter of Republicans approve. So there's half that don't fall into the party lines. Am I doing my math right here or am I not? This is the kind of stuff that just drives me insane because they try to put everyone into a box. That way they can say, you're making this political, and this should be outside politics. We're talking about the health of the nation. When it's really not along party lines. So, see if there's a comment section down here. Some of these have comment sections I like to read. Most don't. Let's go back and see if this story has a comment section. Nope. Because if people really wanted to... Oh, here we go. Here's a comment section on this article about growing number of parents want their kids stickered. Let's see what the comment section says here. This is going to be funny. Welcome to Yahoo Comments. Share your feedback. Okay, where are the comments at? I don't see any here. Oh, here, let's refresh this. Because the comments say it all, don't they? What? Share feedback in the comment section by taking the survey. Notification. Oh, I guess there is no comments here. Comments. All right, what else do we have here? Well, hey, if we can force people to get it and threaten their jobs and everything, and, well, let's just keep it going, right? Because right now it's FLU time. And while you're over there getting your CV19 sticker, might as well get the FLU sticker too, right? Amid all the focus on the CV19, U.S. health experts have another plea. Don't skip your FLU shot. Listen to how they explain away the disappearance of the FLU season. Have dropped to historically low levels. We're talking almost extinct. U.S. and Europe experienced hardly any FLU last winter. And the Southern Hemisphere just ended its second FLU season of the spamdemic with little to report. This is shocking. Shouldn't this be front page news? We've defeated the FLU, but this won't be front page news because if they say that, then nobody will go get an FLU SHOT, right? You know, it's very easy to read between the lines here. If you're really sitting back critically and thinking about these things, shouldn't they be jumping up and down, trying to take credit for this? Hey, we ended. FLU is almost extinct. We ended it. Wouldn't they be running with that? And wouldn't this be front page news? But they won't. They've reframed it and are still trying to get people to get their FLU SHOT. Now, things have heated up here on YouTube, and this is why we have to go deep. Because YouTube is banning any content that disagrees, not just misinfo, any content that disagrees. And this says it all right here. Any content that disagrees. This is starting to sound like a particular country, isn't it? Claiming that approved stickers do not work or are harmful. Stickers for illnesses other than the CV for the first time. It's a departure from the industry's historical hands-off approach to content moderation. Now, I haven't said anything in this video to disagree with anything, but pretty soon you won't even be able to talk about it in any kind of light. You won't be able to ask questions about it or anything. And this is where it's headed. And this is why I tell you the world is changing. The world is changing. And if you think this doesn't affect you, you're going to look back and say, wow, I could have made a statement. I could have stood up instead of going along with the crowd. And I'm not talking about most of the people that follow this channel. I'm talking about the people who may be tuning in for the first time and think this is no big deal. All this applies to are, those weird people on YouTube, that part of YouTube, they tried that. Remember, they tried the shame game? They tried the shame game. They sent out their bots to basically make fun of us and call us names and call us that part of YouTube. That didn't work. And then they tried, now they're going to just wipe people off. Okay, this is what's going on. So, now you guys know why I don't jump on bandwagons. Now you guys know why I don't repeat certain information. Because remember the Dirty Dozen? That was a setup. Anyone who mentioned them a bunch in their videos, their channels are being taken down as we speak. And I saw it a mile away. Anything that makes the mainstream is pretty much a setup in terms of our corner of the world, what we talk about here. And they're probably government agents, and their job is to, and look, this is 101 for these people, for these alphabet gangs. It's 101. This is what they do. Okay? They infiltrate. They work together, probably with YouTube, to throttle and increase their subscriberships, build these channels out very quickly. This is the difference. Think about how long we've been on YouTube. 10 years. Look how long it's taken us to get to 100,000 subscribers. We've scratched and clawed for every single one. You guys see me in the comment section every single day talking to you. I do that all by myself. We upload every single day. Yet some of these channels that upload once or twice a week grew to hundreds of thousands, millions of subscribers. And that's not me hating on anybody. It's just the truth, you guys. It's the truth. And you got to ask yourself why. And then what happens is other channels copy those channels. They copy their technique, thinking that that's some kind of recipe for success, or at least to reach more people. I'm not going to say all channels are, have malevolent, agendas. But they're just following what the recipe is, right? Oh, wow, we can get the word out about that. That channel's doing it. And then they copy the recipe, and then they're taken down. And this is how these people do it. They said they have hundreds, if not thousands, and maybe even tens of thousands of people working in a room to control the public. That's their main job. Keep everything under control. Don't let the loud voices speak out and affect our agenda. Because every person that speaks out against our agenda, we have to do double time to keep our agenda pushing through. And this is what they do. And it's sick, is what it is. It's sick. And it upsets me. But I know I have a hope that our kingdom is coming. And so, therefore, but it's sadness is what it is. Because there's so many people being deceived. So many people walking straight into traps. So many people who think they have this world figured out, but they really don't. They're being deceived. And this can mean your life. This could mean your eternal salvation if you're not careful. Now, God has a lot of grace, but there are points in your life where he has tried to show you the truth. Sometimes he lets you fall into the devil's traps. You suffer, you die, or you get hurt or maimed, or you get sick, or whatever the case may be. Or your life just overall just sucks. And then what's the first thing we want to do? We want to blame God, right? When it has nothing to do with God a lot of the times. It's the choices that we're making. It's us not waking up to the truth. It's us believing in men, voting for men. It's all the things that we do to walk right into the trap of the enemy. And God protects us for a long time in our life. And then he goes, you know what? You're not learning. You keep getting lied to by these people. And then you keep walking into the trap. So, okay, fine. Believe that person then. And then he shows you, and then your life falls apart. So, that's what's going on, you guys. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm going to upload the trailer to Friday's show. That'll be tomorrow. It's only about 5 minutes long. Thought I'd upload that for you guys. So you can share that as well from the movie only. which aired or released in 2019 before the spam-demic. And yet, in the film, as you saw on Friday's show, there seems to be very specific imagery and symbolism that relates to something that hadn't even happened yet. Shocking. Comet, what was it? Covino. Comet Covino caused all the women on Earth to basically fall out. Covino. Covino. Before the word was even invented later that year in December 2019. How can this be? Well, if you're awake and you're ready to listen and you're ready to wake up to the truth, then you'll be able to put the puzzle pieces together, because I can't put them together for you anymore. All I can do is show you their symbolism in the movies. Can't really make any statements about it anymore. But I can show you a film, because that very same film is on YouTube server right now as we speak. So, what can they say about that? I don't know, but eventually they will. Anyway, you guys, have a great rest of your Saturday, and I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Take care and be safe.